What if I told you that every single car photo that you have ever seen can be categorized into these 10 shots that I'm about to show you? Well, that is exactly what I have for you, plus a little surprise. So here are not only the 10 shots that every pro takes when they go on a shoot, but number 10 is gonna blow your mind because you're gonna realize how easy and simple car photography can really be. Straight shots. That just means that the tires are completely straight. You can shoot it from the side, you can shoot it forward, you can shoot it from the back, whatever you decide to do. But that's pretty straightforward. Just shoot wide. I mean, get the car in there. I mean, it's not hard, but everybody has to do it.
How do you deal with the high shutter and light flicking?
So this is actually an issue that I'm having right now. They're flickering way too much to the point where it's creating bands like all the way up and down my photo. So the way that I compensate for that is lower down that shutter speed as low as it goes until you start to see to where it's like minimal, not to where it completely goes away, because like it'll only go away at like maybe like 1/10 of a second. But at 1/10 of a second, you're gonna be blurry, handshaking or whatever. So lower down that shutter speed as low as it goes until you see that it's not flickering as much, and then adjust your ISO, your aperture accordingly, and just have really steady hands basically. So for example, in this case, I'm shooting at 1/25 of a second to be able to get rid of the Tesla headlight stuff. See, like that one right there, that was blurry. I'm actually gonna sit on this floor because I got bad knees. Yes, find that sweet spot of a shutter speed, but also make sure to shoot in little bursts, because most likely the second or third shot is actually the one that's going to be not blurry, because when you press on it, you're actually having a little bit of micro jitters. So always shoot in little bursts, because if one's bad, hopefully the other ones aren't. Now, the second one is the turn. I know it sounds basic, but just please stick with me. It will make sense at the end. This goes right alongside with number one. This just means that the tire is turned. The wheel is turned. Just a bonus tip for you, it should be turning away from the camera so that you can see the rims, not the inside of the tire, because that typically just looks gross. Number three, the action shots. Yes, rollers are included in here. So for those of you who don't know what a roller is, it's just when you're in a moving vehicle shooting at another car that is moving as well. But all a roller is a long exposure. And a long exposure just means that your shutter speed on your camera is actually going lower to where it takes longer for it to take the picture. So what happens? You get motion blur. That's all it is. This is a sick tip that I wish somebody would have told me a long time ago, is to match up your speed with your shutter speed. So if you're going 40 miles an hour, maybe shoot at 1/40th of a second, maybe 1/60th if you're in kilometers. Once you're there, just adjust accordingly. That helped me so much. You have to have steady hands, but I suggest not going slower than 1/15 with your shutter speed. For example, if I was shooting in daylight, wanting to get a roller at a car going 40 miles an hour, here's what my settings would look like. White balance at 5600 Kelvin. ISO 100 or as low as it goes. And shutter speed, I'm gonna start it at 1/40. And number four, my aperture will probably be at an f2.8, maybe f3.5, depends how sunny it is outside. Take a couple practice shots. If you see that the entire car is too blurry, then crank it up 1/50, 1/60. But if you're not getting enough movement in the rims or in the background, then lower it down, maybe to 1/30 or 1/25. It's all just a balancing act. And the last pro tip on rollers is that you might need an ND filter so that all these other settings will make sense. However, number three is not just rollers, it is action shots. That means that the car is actually moving. I remember this one picture, I think it's by Aaron. All this sand is being thrown up. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure this was shot with a drone, but man, that is a good shot, dude. All right, now back to the car shoot before I got kicked out. Now the next one is the top-down shot. Everybody be doing this, but it is a little bit more challenging because you have to carry a ladder with you, or you have to have a drone, or be in some place where you can actually shoot all the way down. Right now, sitting on top of a lamppost, trying to get this kind of angle right here. So this doesn't fully count as top-down, but that's why I always suggest, if you can, go to like a parking garage where one of the parking garages overhangs another part of the parking garage, so that you can move the car down under it and then you can shoot over it, and you don't have to bring a ladder or anything like that. And the next one we have now is details. Every single pro photographer I've seen, they either shoot badges or really cool things about the interior or even rims or anything like that. I suggest shooting with a little bit tighter of a focal length, maybe more like a 50mm and up if possible, because if you shoot too wide, then it's gonna widen the entire thing. It looks kind of goofy. It looks like you took it with your phone. For example, right now, this is one of my go-to shots. I always like to have the window around halfway up on the driver's side, shoot right into that wheel. And then also we have this like blue light, which I'm probably gonna shoot some interiors as well, because that's gonna look so clean. actually have to do this. Oh, actually, that might hit low key. The movie trailer shot. Now think of our movie Bible, The Fast and the Furious, all right? Anytime you see posters where they leave a lot of headroom, this is what we're talking about. This type of shot is pretty straightforward, leave space on the top or on the bottom or on the side, but there is something critical that you need to know about doing this type of shot. There is a huge difference between an intentional crop with headroom and an unintentional crop where you're just forcing the text in there. If you can't remember that, remember this. With photos, you can always crop in, but you can't crop out. F you, AI. Oh, I can just use dinner film. Shut up, dude. So the next one is what I like to call the card chop, just like judo chop. That's an Austin Powers reference. But basically, it doesn't matter what part of the car, but make sure you choose a certain subject of the car, and then you just cut the rest of the car out. So many times you see it with taillights, you see it with headlights as well, especially trunks and hoods of cars. Sometimes people even do it with rims. The biggest tip that I can give you though is just make sure that you have one good area of interest and the rest of it just cut it off so it still looks aesthetically pleasing. All right, let's go chop this car in half. No! Oftentimes when it comes to chopping the car in half, I start thinking in like an abstract mode, right? To where it's like, I don't care if you know what part of the car I'm looking at or not. This, for example, notice that it just looks cool, looks almost alien-like, and I even turned the camera a little sideways just to give that abstract kind of look and chopping the car pretty much in an eighth. Typically, you're gonna show the car in its context, and this will be like on a carousel, or it's gonna be like multiple photos put together. So that means that once they see it, they're gonna be like, whoa, that's just like a cool abstract piece that adds to your picture, and it's not just, you know, a full shot of the car, if that makes sense.
Yo, that actually looks fire.
That one, right?
Oh my goodness, I'm excited.
The lineup shot. Now I can make an entire video on all this multi-car type of setup, but for brevity, this is just a good rule of thumb for all of your multi-car shots. Create not just leading lines, but also shapes that can guide your eye through the image. This shot by North Borders is actually a really good example. Notice that you have the road that is curving, and then you see the three cars, and the road keeps going, and it sends your eyes all the way to that horizon, and then you just keep looping around. Looks so good. That's how you can create leading lines or shapes or things to guide your eye. The other thing you can do is to make a decision on whether you're focusing on just one car in the group or you're focusing on all the cars in the group. Shots of cars all lined up at a slight angle looks very good. But this is the time to ask you, am I focused on the first car, a car in the middle, a car in the back, or all of them? Because depending on that, your aperture is going to change. If you want to focus on the first car, it'd be cool to shoot at 1.4. Feel free. If you want to focus on a car in the middle, f1.4, f2 will work as well. But if you want to focus on all the cars as a whole, I would suggest shooting at least f5.6. So when you're shooting multiple cars, decide whether you're focusing on one car or you're focusing on all of them. Why did this work?
Bro.
This is the landscape shot. So basically, you just want to go to a great location. Yes, the subject is part of the photo, but it's pretty much everything as a whole. So you give the audience the opportunity to double dip, where they can get a good location, get a good landscape. A lot of people do it with like 7-Elevens, gas stations, mountains. They do it with leading lines, with like in the fall and like these big curvy roads. There's all these kinds of places, right? But if you don't have all that fancy stuff, then just be driving, go to a Starbucks drive-thru, and then just find like a cool location and you shoot it. And here is where everything comes together. You mix them all together. Yeah, maybe you saw it coming, blah, blah, but hold on, let me break it down real quick. See this shot? You have a landscape as well as a straight shot. How about this one? It's a trailer shot and a landscape shot. See the text on the top as well as being able to see all of the hills and the mountains in the back? Or how about this trifecta here? You got a straight shot along with an action shot as well as a landscape. Killer photo here. Or how about this one? You have a car chop as well as a top-down angle. And here's one more. You have a lineup / multi-car setup along with the car chop. Or here is a mixture between a car chop and a detail shot. On the real though, I have yet to come across any car photo that isn't a mixture of all of these shots that I shared in this video. Wait, actually there is. It's whenever you have subjects with the car, which I can make a video on that if you blow this one up. So smash the like button if you do want to see that. I almost forgot about the surprise. Now imagine if I could go with you on every single one of your car shoots. Well, with this surprise, you can put me and this video in your back pocket. That way you can always know what you're going to shoot on your next car shoot. So in the description, you can click on the link, pay $5 just to buy me a coffee, and that's your way of saying thank you. Or you can just type this code in and you'll get it for free. It is a PDF of all the shots that we talked about today, as well as all these different combinations that you can put together, and hopefully it can spark some ideas for you. But that is it. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.